Okay, for those of you listening to the audio podcast, we also release the show with video visuals on YouTube. So if you like some pretty pictures to go along with our pretty voices, search for Digital Suffering Podcast on YouTube to find us. Hello, and welcome to episode 22 of the Digital Suffering Podcast, the podcast where we suffer so you don't have to. We're your hosts. I'm Stephen Something.
PhamtomLimb.
Okay, today we've got a bunch of new games that have dropped or popped into existence or re-popped into existence in the case of one of them. So let's talk about the first one.
Like a turd falling into the water of the toilet.
Yes, let's do some flushing, possibly. First up, we have Godfall. Now, I didn't come across this. Mr. Lim, you this is one of your babies.
Well, I don't think it.
It's.
I don't even count this as being real, despite it being in front of me and people talking about it and writing articles about it.
But it's the first PlayStation 5 game. The first.
It is. It is the first. It is the first dev kit game.
What's that?
It's you know, when they make consoles, they produce pre-production versions of the dev kits so that you can program for them before you get the actual hardware.
Right.
Yeah.
So essentially, the PlayStation 5 has not been released. It has not been talked about. It has not been a specification has not been released. There has been no mention of it being released to developers. There has been no mention of the PlayStation 5 other than in tabloid trash toilet paper newspapers who are trying to jump ahead of the story and say we had it first, which is complete bullshit, yeah. Right? Clickbait bullshit basically. And there's probably a million YouTube videos of try hard little punks doing exactly the same thing, right? And this has only thrown fuel on the fire because this is from what I can tell, it's basically Destiny.
Destiny with swords. Well, no, it's not. It's like it looks like an arena battler, really.
Do you think?
Well,
I don't think it looks like that.
From the gameplay,
I think it's just
a small amount of gameplay I've seen
of Destiny / Anthem / inserts multiplayer game here, because from what the dev guy said from the studio, he said it was a slasher
loot slasher,
which translates into action RPG.
Yeah,
which is pretty much exactly what all of those games are, just in some form or another. You know, be it third person or whatever.
Yeah. It's like Diablo, but with double jumping, probably.
King double jumping. Get this IP away from me.
I mean, it looks fairly nice, but it seemed a little premature, and it's sort of announcing really, given that
we've got 1 minute 50 trailer of nothing, literally nothing. Right? No gameplay, no concept, people in fancy armour.
And the armour is very fancy.
And tower and some kind of dragon thing in a whirlwind that's surrounding the tower.
What we do is you probably have to like climb the tower, each level, clearing bosses as you go.
I mean, this could be Power Rangers the movie. Just saying.
There'd be 5 of them.
It kind of reminds me of Diablo, actually, with the
thing in the thing.
With the thing in the thing.
Yeah. Well, it's trying to drag people into all of those things. I mean, it's the initial bit where he's running through that room and it's like combusting around him could be Gears of War. You know, that's Gears of War, Halo.
Just be grateful he didn't say cover-based looter. Well, no, from what I've seen, like a few seconds of gameplay, and for the most part, you sort of leap around. So it's like Devil May Cry, or the more actiony style games. But the RPG elements is obviously you kill lots of mobs, you get your epic loot drops, you gear up, and you rinse and repeat.
I saw a bit of gameplay trailer, but I couldn't seem to find it on an official channel, which is kind of weird. So I don't know where that's come from, but it's definitely
maybe someone they recorded it at the show or something.
Well, I thought that was all they showed from the show, what we saw from the Game Awards.
But how these people, unless they got review copies, seems unlikely. No.
I don't know where the footage has come from, but there seemed to be a bit where two people were fighting, from what I saw, and one deflected, sort of parried an attack, and then grabbed the other one and basically dunked him on the floor.
Like a boss.
But I didn't know who the controlled character was and the excuse me, and the non-controlled character was, or if it was PvP or
yeah.
It really wasn't that clear, and it was only a few seconds of gameplay. Anyway, yes, I am super not excited. If this game, they said, what was it? Holiday 2020.
Holiday 2020.
Right, which I'm assuming Americans mean Christmas?
Yeah, the Christmas period, yeah.
Right, so they reckon this game's going to be out by Christmas. I think this game might be, and this is Gearbox as well, it's not a small studio, they've got money.
Yeah.
Well, Gearbox are publishing.
Publishing, yes, that's correct. It's
Counter something?
Counterplay, counter
points?
Yeah, something like that.
Studios, whom I have never heard of. I'm sure they have a fine lineage of games, but I just haven't heard of them.
Well, just because they've been focusing on this then, isn't it?
Yeah, on this with their dev kit. Coming to a dev kit 2020 holiday.
Will they delay it for the release of the PS5 and do a timed release, a simultaneous release on both? Or is it like, it's holiday 2020, PlayStation has been delayed till, spring 2021. Are we going to drop it on PC first? Because the thing is, if they're aiming for it as a launch title to get that because obviously when people get the console, there's going to be subtle titles. People want to, we're going to buy it, and if the game is not, it launches with the console. That's a bigger wave of sales because people, they have no choice. It's like we want a game for our shiny new hardware. We're going to pick this up.
Also, yeah, that does bring in complications. Because if the PC version does come out first, it will
eat into the PlayStation 5 sales.
Yeah, it will effectively make it a softer landing for whoever, like Sony Corp.
Yeah, also it can bring bad comparisons because if the PC version comes out first, graphics are great. PS5 version, the graphics are not as powerful. It's like
it's going to shit on their parade.
Yeah, it's going to. Sony execs.
Can you imagine? Like, obviously, this is a thing. It's not really a thing, but people treat it as a thing. Like, oh my god, this is a 30 FPS. My eyes can't even see this shit. Hear it daily, right? And then they go, "Oh, I could have played this 60 FPS on PC." Obviously, I'm hoping like people don't seem to understand how things work. But anyway, obviously. Everyone's going to say, of course, everything's going to run at 60 or higher FPS on the PlayStation 5, or the dev kit as I like to call it. But that's just not true, because if the game needs the power to graphically be whatever it is, it's going to be exactly the same story as the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Like, you can have one, but you can't have the other. And if they go for shiny like they always have for the last 20 years that PlayStation's been around, they go for shiny and not for FPS.
You're going to get drops.
You're going to get FPS at 30 frames. I don't give a what the performance of the hardware of dev kit will be. That's it now. It's called dev kit. I don't give a F.
So you think they just brought that out to fuel the rumours?
It's just to make people
No,
salivate.
it's promotional stuff.
Yeah, it's just to make them salivate for the thing they don't have.
Yeah.
This is next week's thing. Whatever you've got in the pipeline, we're going to one-up you by this is... whatever you've got is coming out next week, or this is the week after. We're ahead of the game with the thing that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for the studios, it's good publicity because it's like, oh yes, we've got something ready to go. You know, the perception is we have something ready to go. We're just waiting for the hardware to appear. No one else has announced anything on the PS5. We're the first.
Yeah.
So
that's all it was.
It's bragging rights.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And considering this game is a full year away by their own measure, and then that is a projected thing as well. They've got a careers page on the Godfall website, right, that I went to, and they need people to work there. This game ain't done. That's the long and the short of it. This game ain't done, so they're going to be scrambling for the next year to get this to market.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had lots in place already, so possibly.
I've seen games that have been in development for 3 years get destroyed in the first week of release because people go, why isn't this like this and why isn't that like that? Why isn't this the thing that I already own? God damn it. Why do I have to suffer the trials and tribulations of a new IP that doesn't seem to understand that what I've got is what I want? And I want it again in this new thing that isn't the thing that I've already got.
That's different to lacking developers.
Well,
that's
you say that, but
that's
development's gone
demands.
into games for 3 years, and then they've gone, oh, why didn't they spend more time beta testing this? No, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's broken.
But conversely, there are lots of games where they should have spent, they should have spent 3 years beta testing it before release.
Yes.
We have both suffered under such things.
It's just stupid. I'm annoyed by the fact that this is all this is going to do. Like, I don't understand. Sony must have had a hand in knowing that this was going to drop, right?
Yeah.
So everything now that they release for the PS4 in the next year, and they're going to keep releasing all the way up till dev kit is released, right? And everything that they release is marred by this. Why am I buying this crap now? I want that shiny new shit.
I should just wait
next week.
Yeah, don't buy
exactly.
Then,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, only established IPs will survive that because people want to play them anyway.
So stupid. Such short... It's like if you... Like today, if you said to yourself, oh, I've decided I'm going to buy a 2080 graphics card.
Yeah.
And then you read the news...
They bring out the 3000 series.
Yeah. The 3080 is coming out in 6 months. You going to buy the 2080?
Hell no.
And it's going to be the same price because it's flagship price. Yeah. It's going to run at the same thing.
They're going to drop the other one.
Drop, and you're going to go, I can wait 6 months.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'm playing that looks like garbage now.
Exactly.
F that 2080 shit.
When Godfall comes out, I need the good card for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to run it in full 30 frames per second.
31.
Yeah.
It gives you an extra frame per second.
Like, it's so stupid and short-sighted. The race has become so idiotic.
But it's like, the Xbox X or whatever.
Scarlet.
But they call it, it's got a new name. It's like...
Yeah.
I read it and it was like Xbox X or so. They just add more X's into it. And I'm like...
Triple X.
I'm like, no.
It's fine.
Really?
It doesn't matter. Have you seen the picture? Say in inverted commas. It's basically a PC tower.
Yeah, but that's it. It's dev kit because the proper hardware hasn't been,
Exactly, dev kit. Anyway, I'm bored of talking about this garbage.
It's a great game. We give it 3 thumbs up. Right. Next up, we have what's it called?
New World.
Ah, yes, New World. I think
I've seen this game before.
we sort of watched it. We watched the trailer, and it was like it sort of started off with like, oh, these, it's a land of good, plenty, and also hidden evils as there always are, and then you got like animals fighting, and then well, one of them's evil animal because evil animal, and then
the dark and the light,
and then like soldiers come up from like Rome and and throughout the times they come to this place to try and loot its evil.
The power. They're all drawn by the power.
They're drawn by the power.
The new world.
And even though it's like nothing like the other game, it just felt greedful, and I don't know why.
I don't know what. Like, I'm not sure it's not anything like Greedfall.
Well, the things I don't know, but it just feels. And the narrator obviously goes on. It's this new land that draws people to it, and the power, and it's like that's pretty much what Greedfall is. It's an island with like magical power, has natives, and people from other lands come to it because they want this.
Yeah.
And although it seems to have a more perhaps, maybe it looks to maybe siege mechanics or something, or maybe that's I don't know. You said it was an MMO, did you say?
Yeah. This is an MMO.
Yeah. So probably but it's Greedfall the MMO then.
I think the only thing that is I would say feels different is this feels more malevolent rather than
it's nature versus mankind.
Yeah,
whereas here
it seems like this seems more out and out malevolence versus
it's good versus an evil.
Yeah. Whereas the other one, you choose what the good and the evil is, kind of.
Yeah.
In the way
you become the evil.
Yeah, essentially.
In your choices in Greedfall.
That looks better than the other one.
Because it is made by Amazon. This new world, but
so it's going to be they got next day delivery.
But it's also
coming out tomorrow.
This is also they also call it sandbox survival with crafting. So I mean,
so your experience will be nothing like the trailer. Your experience will be you start off in like rags with no weapons, and you have to craft. Oh my goodness! As I'm saying it's being revealed that this is exactly you have to.
Yeah, you're ripping bushes and picking up flint. The amount of like these games,
they're missing a chance to tie in. Like you say, you need a sword. If you've got Prime, you can have it delivered to you.
On your beach.
Pay to win mechanics there.
Reminds me of that pirate game that no one really liked.
Yes.
Seas of...
No. There was it was exactly like this, but it was you played a pirate, and it was what the hell was that called? It released almost a year ago. It was like New Year's. They were paying streamers to play it, and people were ripping.
Was it survival as well?
It was
very similar.
Online MMO survival. There was like a huge band of streamers got together and all played on the same server as a guild. I forget what it was called though. It was like one of those things that was the Promised Land, and then the Promised Land was covered in shit, and the streamers absolutely defecated all over it.
And there was quite a lot of bugs as well, wasn't there?
Oh, there was some insane ones.
If I say Atlas,
yes, that was it.
Yeah,
that was it.
I've never even heard of this thing.
That was it. Go back a year today, and it was everywhere.
Atlas is a survival game with a fantasy pirate flavor. Strong world inhabited by thousands of players who tasked with conquering. Blah, blah, blah. So this is like Atlas, but with an MMO.
This
well, it's the same.
Well, as Shell said, it does look reminiscent, but I mean, I don't know the mechanics here. That was a lot of you build a boat, go out onto the sea, and all that shizzle. But this just looks like any one of all of the other.
It's like Greedfall, but you start off poor.
Yeah. 7 Days to Die. What's that one? Rust. Ark.
Yeah.
Insert game here. This has been done. Atlas.
But none of the ones you've mentioned had to contend with an ancient evil in the land. And that's their
right. Because after
USP.
5 minutes you don't care about the story because you're rummaging in the bushes trying to get some fibre or picking up grass to tie your flint to your stick to make your first axe, to cut down your first tree.
I like how we got a horde of like noobs like running down the the hillside.
This is not typical of gameplay. This is like, you know what this reminds me of? Like, in how bad that this is, how far away from actual gameplay this will be. This is like the PUBG Xbox trailer that they released, where they were like, all of these things could happen, and it was like, it was awful. It was like, no PUBG game ever looked like this. It was like, everybody slated it. They were like, we've been playing this game for 5 years. It never looked like this when we were playing it. Yeah. Just because it's on the Xbox, it ain't look any different.
Yeah, people aren't going to behave any different. So
yeah, it was dumb to say the least. But there's shops here. What? I've never seen shops in a survival game.
Because you can't craft everything. That is weird. But the thing is, it's a survival game, but you've got a town here. It's a survival game where there are like NPCs, I guess.
Merchants and a blacksmith, it looks like.
Of course, you can't buy anything until you craft yourself money.
I'm also. What platform is this coming out on? Do we know?
I can research that while we.
Amazon Fire, you said earlier. Right?
Yeah, the Amazon Fire tablets. It's got a great. What is this game called again? I literally forgot what we were talking about.
New World.
New World, that's it.
New World. Just think of the most boring title you could possibly imagine.
Well, I mean, survival isn't necessarily a thing. Oh, platform, Microsoft Windows. So it's Windows.
So PC.
Yeah.
I mean, it would not make sense for them to deviate from the script of people use Amazon on Windows.
But the thing is there really a cry out for survival games? Because they aren't really the biggest, a considerable segment of the market. Or maybe this is just like Amazon said, well, we're going to dip our toe. Let's pick a genre that, it's fairly quiet. We can like dominate and then move into other sections or something.
Where's the card game? Where's the auto chess? Where's
well, where's
the MOBA?
You build the IP and then you go full league and you just diversify. Where's the fighting game?
I said, yeah.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to a Riot store near you.
It
looks like garbage. I mean,
it looks like garbage.
No.
It's more like, that
graphically, it looks like what it should look like.
It looks like every other survival game.
Exactly. Who cares? That it looks like you're doing. Again, this is hundreds and hundreds of hours in. They're sieging somebody's fortification with kegs of dynamite in this gameplay we're watching, and there is tens of people teaming up to do this. This is 200 hours in for every single person here, at least.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Well, you know this.
No. I'm basing this on how the grind that I've seen. The grind is real on these things. You can spend 15 hours just getting a loincloth.
Amazon Prime, they have a thing you can just click and have your character auto gather while you're offline or something. Done.
Can you imagine if you can sell items from the game through Amazon Marketplace?
We thought you might like this. You click it. Wait, it's virtual.
Like a whole new tab on Amazon where it just says New World Garb or whatever. Yeah, I don't see it. It's weird. I don't know why they would make a game and then choose for it to be this game.
Yeah, MMOs is one thing, but survival is it's so much more niche. That's going to limit its audience, I reckon.
Also, this is a money sink. There's games that they could have made where they'll just go, we made the game, we'll have 5 people that will update it.
Yeah, maintenance mode.
Yeah, job done. This is going to need constant attention.
Yeah, content, maintenance, server and stuff, because otherwise, if you ain't got something to progress towards, a survival game would be like, there's no point to it. Because like, what do you?
Exactly why I do not play survival games.
It's like till you get rich, till you conquer the island. It's like.
I think I was more interested in the story.
Well, like I said, that will fall by the wayside. It won't even, unless there is an end game within. And I don't see what the end game within would be. What, you're going to fight your way to the evil castle with the person who has the evil powers, and then kill them and take the evil power, and you become the thing. You become the thing that there's.
Some people would like that, to become the villain. Come on, take me on.
Yeah, that would be great. That ain't going to happen.
I think I saw Death Stranding.
This is like Death Stranding, but survival.
It was like those little bits in the air.
Well, there was a beach as well.
Yeah.
It's everything on the beach.
It's Death Stranding, but survival, I think. And that people love Death Stranding, so people are going to love this.
People are idiots. Anyway, moving on.
Let's move on, shall we? What have we got next?
Corepunk.
Yes, Corepunk. I came across this. It's a mishmash of multiple genres. The developers themselves said it was like Diablo 4 meets Diablo 3 meets an MMO.
I say it's League meets League.
Yeah, the graphics are very, very colourful, and if someone had told you, "Oh, this is Riot's new non-League IP," you would totally believe it, because the palette and the character design,
everything
is just so much.
The energy bar, the mana bar, the way the characters move, the art style. It could not be more.
There are a lot of things have been influenced by certain things here. You have a selection of champions, but you can outfit them the way you want. So even if you pick you could pick the big tanky orc dude, but you could then spec him out to be like a wizard instead, if that's the way you wanted to play it, because give the player choices. So you're not necessarily tied into, it's not like character bound as to what choice in terms of role you wish to play.
Yeah, but they have natural perks.
Yeah. There will be some. Obviously, you should really play to their strengths, but especially with the perk system, they allow you to configure the character pretty much almost as much. They also said that the weapons also change how your character will behave. So if you pick up a giant two-handed sword, then your character will be more prone to doing whirlwind attacks or whatever it is.
Right.
Anyway, another big selling point of this game is the Fog of War, which is for anyone who plays RTS, real-time strategy games, would be well aware. It was called, as you move through the bits of where scenery obscures your vision, the game kind of hides what's behind there. It's sort of like this thing, so you can kind of see the scenery, but if there are any characters or enemies hidden in that area, they become invisible until they enter your field of view, which is like different as opposed to being like an omni god view, whereby once an enemy is like within range, you know where they are like all the time. And this game does have like opt-in PvP, so I believe it's like you can do PvP across the world, but you have to toggle it. So if you're not interested in PvP, don't switch it on. No one can gank you or anything.
Also, there seemed to be on the hero screen where he was outfitting his character with garb. there was a PvP selection. So it looks like you can have gear for
Yeah.
PvP or for
You can
PvE.
you can spec gear with different bonuses,
Yeah.
because a lot of games, like the game I used to play, Blade and Soul, they had serious issues between the PvP and the. It's essentially an MMO with PvP, and obviously when you're fighting giant bosses with 100 million health, you need your weapons to be able to do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But when player characters only have 100k health, and your weapon can do 1 million DPS,
Yes, exactly.
you will be one-shotting the enemy, which is like, okay, so they try and balance it for the two, and it breaks, you can't do it. So they've only just recently said, right, we're going to split the stats, so that you've got PvP stats and PvE stats. And like, it's like, finally, when you just...
This is why the PvP on Diablo 3 never worked.
Yeah, because again, you can do just ridiculous amounts of damage, whereas the player doesn't have the health.
Even with
bosses
even with armor mitigation, which they did up in the PvP, it was like, oh, I've just done this, you did.
Yeah. I tried the PvP and it's like it wasn't particularly pleasant. But anyway, not too big on PvP that way. But pardon me.
I don't like the name of the game either.
It's because it's supposed to be sort of the cyberpunk influence. It's supposed to be like 4 different punks in there or something like that.
Corepunk. Where punk's all over the punk.
Not cyberpunk, steampunk is the correction. Is what the general feel for it. You know,
I think they should change the name to League Punk.
Riot might not be happy with that.
How about Legends Punk? Punk of Legends.
Punk of Legends. Legends of the Core Punk.
League of Punk Legends.
League of Punk Legends Core. Anyway, yes, it's very League-like, but yeah, it has lots of different things. And I mean, they have...
It's got nice animations, it's colourful.
They've got a lot of stuff, like, you saw the sequence whereby the characters, like, they have, like, transport, like, trains. And when they have the thing, the characters running along the station to try and hop onto the carriage to catch the train.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
There's a bit of...
It's a lot of world building, I think.
There's a bit of... what is it called? Oh, so annoying.
Describe it. How many syllables? 3 syllables. Sounds like it's a movie.
There's 2 games already out. There was one coming out, which is more online. It's an ARPG, little studio, cartoony graphics like this. What is it called? So annoying. I've got the first one on... I think I've got the second one as well.
You've got 2 versions of it.
I've only played the first one, though,
okay,
because it was very disappointing. Also, don't play ARPGs on console, kids.
Yeah.
It's bad, okay?
Mouse and keyboard for the win.
Yes. Anyway, yes. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. It looks like that.
Would you actually play that game?
No, because it's a massively multiplayer online game.
It's an MMO. It's an MMORPG, essentially.
And that inherently has... It's like mobile games for me. Some of the games genuinely look interesting, but then inherently they have things that I do not like.
Other humans.
Well, content that I can't do by myself is one.
They said, for this game, everything can be soloed with exception of world bosses and raids. Because obviously...
Fine.
But all the dungeons are soloable.
Well, that sounds good, right? In theory, that is also the case with a game like Destiny. But Destiny also has a thing in place, like World of Warcraft does, whereby they curtail the gear that you can find, right, in the world, and then give you better gear for world bosses and raids. And then you're effed, because you never get the full experience of the game unless you do those things. And if I can't coordinate 6 other people to play with me for 2 hours on a Thursday evening, that's not in my lifestyle.
They didn't mention anything about weapon progression in that respect. So
no, they didn't, but you never know.
Yeah, chances are, because the thing is, you want people to play the raid, so you want to lock good gear behind them.
Exactly.
That's it. But the thing is, if you think of the raids and world bosses would be end game content, you're not like missing anything above that because you're not going to do it in the first place. I guess would be the.
That's a weak argument.
Yeah, but then it's like saying, should you have like a raid that can solo? Should the raid be, auto level itself so that you can progress through it solo, or perhaps AI companions?
There's a few ways around it.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't have a raid at all and don't be such a square.
Well, people want raid contents.
Survival dungeons.
Survival dungeons.
You can play them multiplayer or single player. There's, I think it was Grim Dawn. There's a series of dungeons that scale to your level very well, right? So it's always a challenge. Like the enemies in there are always
just a little bit above.
Yeah, and as you progress down through the dungeon, you can't. If you teleport out, that's it. You're done.
So you have to do it in one shot.
Yeah. So you have to go down and down and down. So basically, it's a survival dungeon, and you can't teleport out to sell the gear that you're finding. So your limited space in your inventory is. You're going to keep this and leave the dungeon with this at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
You cannot teleport back in. If you teleport out, you start at the beginning of the dungeon again. So anything you were going to find is done.
Yeah. You can't. I'll do it and I'll come back and finish it.
You can do this multiplayer. You can do it single player. There is nothing wrong with this. If you leave, that's it.
Yeah.
Done. Right? If you get to the end, kill the boss, loads of loot. There's loads of loot as you travel through. Right? So you get the satisfaction of the challenge, and you get the satisfaction of the loot.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the time, or you physically can't,
just leave when
you just leave.
Yeah.
Regroup, come back again later, whatever. That is much better than a raid from my perspective, because I can do it solo.
Yeah.
And it will scale, but depending, just like the rest of the game would, depending on how many players are playing with me. And it can be quick and it can be short. Because if I've got 10 minutes to kill and I just go 5 levels down of a 20 level thing, or a 30 or however many you want to make it, you can still leave the game. You would have profited from it.
Yeah, you have achieved something for the time spent.
And then that's 20 minutes, you turn your thing off and go home, go to school, whatever.
Yeah. Unlike a raid where 2 hours in, you're on your third total party wipe.
Yeah, and you want to kill the people you're playing with, right?
They are the final raid boss.
It's like, and the ones in Destiny are particularly annoying. You got to stand on a thing with a thing, and another dude's got to stand on another thing, and another dude's got to
things.
Yeah, and then you got to shoot a bag that's hanging from the ceiling in order to lure out the boss, who only comes out for 30 seconds, and then you've got to dodge his attacks. Then you've got to dump a load of damage on him before he disappears again, and then you've got to do it all again, except this time you've got to do it while standing in a puddle of acid while a giant pisses on your head from the clouds.
What? I think, I'm not sure, but I think pretty much all the bosses have been soloed by like enterprising players for Destiny.
Not the raid ones.
Not the raid ones?
No.
I have to check.
Because there are literally... What I just described is literally what happens.
I remember there was one, though, I don't know if it was a raid boss, but described that you have to do like a mechanic where one player has to like manipulate a thing while another person ascends this thing to get to the boss. And they found like a way to... skip that section.
Well, they used their portal gun and a cube, and they put the cube on the thing instead.
Whatever, but they found a way to bypass it, and so they like soloed the boss, which is like obviously there's something that needs to be patched.
Fine, fine, that's fine, but that's not how the content.
Yeah. No, it's not
right. Survival dungeon. You don't even need to call it a survival dungeon, right? You don't need to have it like I said, but the mechanic would be the same, and it's still rewarding whether you finish it or not. And if you die, you die. That's it.
I mean, you say that, but I think it'd still be worthwhile having content that would be for multiplayer, purely because some people do like that. It's not for everyone, but not everyone likes this.
No, but the survival dungeon could be played multiplayer.
Yeah,
and it would just get harder, and the rewards would be bigger.
But then you have scaling issues for multiple players where they're not necessarily all the same level. where the weakest one is suddenly...
No, well, you always do it on party lead.
Well, having said that, there was a MMO I used to play, the Neverwinter.
Right.
They had it wasn't a dungeon, but they had like events where you'd all come into like an area and like you'd get like, you know, it's sort of a swarm mode sort of thing.
Right.
But like it was auto balanced, so the enemies, if it was like from the level cap was at level 60, but people at level 12 could join in.
Yeah.
So even if you're both attacking the same one, it was scaling the enemy to, you know, according to the hits they were taking.
Oh, really?
So essentially, you were both doing the same approximately the same damage. So that way, people who were level 12 and had like one spell slot and like shitty gear were still pretty much able to kill the mobs at the same speed as like almost the same
that's
speed
quite
as
clever, but most would have it the other way where it scales to party lead.
Yeah.
And then
but that's how you do it normally.
If you reap the rewards of being there in a higher level situation, then you could take normally, but equally you'd get dumped on by the weakest white trash mob ever. You know, at the end of it, you'd come out on top, but you would get dumped on 100 times over.
Yeah, so it's like they only had that for certain event content because it was a very difficult problem to solve. You know, scaling for, you know, multiple players.
Yeah, that must be insanely difficult to manage.
They frequently release patches to resolve, you know, weird scaling issues where all of a sudden weaker characters were doing so much more damage than they were supposed to and stuff like that. So, you know, when that sort of thing happened, players were like taking, you know, unequipping their weapons and going in bare-fisted because you could select one shot all the enemies because all of a sudden your damage scaled like differently and stuff like that. You know, they were just like there's kind of like weird bugs. So yeah, they only used it for, you know, certain things, but it was good because that means, you know, how many times with this like a world event and, you know, new players are literally not able to take part because they need to grind for the next 30 hours in order to have a character that can take part. So it's very good as a way of including people. But yeah, definitely it's an issue for scaling, and we don't know that this, you know, they will have solved that sort of thing. But
are you going to sign up for the beta? Are you interested?
I've actually signed up for the beta, so I will have a play with that. We'll find out what that's like, assuming we get in. It'll be closed beta for the next 8 to 10 months, and then they're thinking the open beta will take place sort of end of the year next year.
Wowza, that's a long way off.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to the next.
What is the next?
Ghost of, I don't know how to say that. Tsushima.
It's Tsushima, isn't it?
I'm not sure it is.
It is Tsushima.
But I don't speak Japanese, so.
I speak weeb Japanese, so I'm proclaiming to myself to be the expert in the room here.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
Introduce the game. Give us the potted history, in fact.
So, cast your mind back to 2017, a long time ago in the gaming world.
Barely knee-high to a grasshopper.
You've grown a lot, you must have eaten a lot.
A lot of chips.
Casting your mind back to the Sony presentation pre-E3 show and the garbage that they threw out to our eyeballs with great promise and no substance. A bit like DevKit, which we will laugh about in 2 years. Ha 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 ha! How I will remember this day. Yes, I remember that. I remember a lot further back than 2 years.
He lives for these events.
So, they trotted out a game that looked like a tech demo to me, and everybody gasped and hooed and did what the brainless, mindless,
it looks amazing,
chattering monkeys do, and they said it was the best thing at E3, even before E3 had started, because they're mindless, chattering monkeys.
Wow. I never heard this game back then. Although I didn't. I mean, I watched some of the E3 news, but I don't watch the full shows or anything.
Well, I'll tell you why you didn't, because the shadow that loomed over it almost immediately, literally the next day, the Xbox pre-E3 show, Microsoft trotted out FromSoft's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice,
yeah.
and everybody went, Ghost of what? No, never heard of it. Because it was like, this game showed off this tech demo of bushes and grass rustling and the wind and leaves.
It looked very realistic.
And no, it didn't. And and what seemed like a weather system, and a man who cut down a couple of other dudes, his enemies, in a couple of strikes, and it was like an old Akira Kurosawa film, and you were like, my eyes have feasted on garbage. And then you saw Sekiro and you went, holy F-balls, this looks amazing.
Plus,
they've done it again. I'm buying that when it comes out.
Plus, it was a studio they'd heard of, compared to...
Really? Because I think this is Sony.
No, but Sony's the publisher.
Yeah.
But who's the developer?
Don't know.
So,
Sony? No, it's not.
There's no such thing.
It does only on PlayStation.
Is this like a second game?
No.
No, it says...
So basically, this game, they announced it, kind of.
In
they
2017, and then...
Yes, in
out
2000...
now?
No, not even out yet. Not even out yet. Like, hold back your anticipation for this garbage. Announced it in 2017, pre-E3, that's July, right? Then Sekiro came out and was everything and more than this game was. This game sunk without a trace and has now resurfaced yesterday because it was, I believe, a trailer. This trailer that we're watching now resurfaced at this show that's on every year, which is a bloated testicle of a show called the Game Awards, which is people struggling so hard to pat themselves on the back to give out awards to games that nobody's ever heard of, because it's like the Turner Prize. Because that's dumb. Anyway, so while they were breaking their own arm to slap themselves on the back, all they do is rock out a bunch of trailers, which is where that Godfall game comes in. That was at the Game Awards as well, where they announce,
Why have trailer launches at the game? Because
that's all it is, really. That's all anyone watches it for.
For the promotion.
Yeah. because now it's become a thing. It's like Gamescom. Nobody watches it. Nobody cares about Gamescom. Nobody cares that the developers go there and they talk to other developers and deals get made. They don't give a F about that. They want to see the latest trailer. God damn it! And this is just the same. And nothing's really changed. The game looks like it did a couple of years ago to me, and it's like there's nothing here that Sekiro hasn't already done. I mean, riding a horse and jumping off and stabbing somebody, but
well, yeah,
it's like somebody who went to film school as a disgruntled person that never could make a film has decided to make their samurai epic with really truncated wee little people.
The Mongols.
And it, just too much.
Well, I mean, from the limited gameplay that they showed, it seemed, very much like Sekiro, but that it was more empty, is perhaps the word I'm thinking. That with Sekiro, a lot of it is, you've got tighter areas, so you go from one section, you move along, and you're never far away from action. And here, it just seems much more spread out. It sort of gives a much more slower paced feeling, which may draw unfavourable comparisons when compared with Seikiro, because it's like you're not doing much for periods of time.
It's just unfortunate that, or do you think that they knew that it was.
Well, I mean,
I think they intentionally moved it back in its development cycle.
it's more it's 99% guaranteed that they saw what FromSoft brought out and they crapped their pants and went, we need to make sure that we've got something that will stand favourably, because the thing is, you release it in the same year as them and you will get destroyed. Purely because FromSoft has following it, their games have they have a guaranteed audience.
Also, FromSoft Seikiro released last year, November-ish, I want to say. So it was ready. It was like a year away from being released when they showed it at E3, and then it came out. It wasn't like some of the games you see at E3 where they're 3 years away, they're 5 years away.
Yeah.
So
they're open beta in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean it's become
March 2019 initial release dates
of
this 2019 March for Seikiro.
Really?
Yeah, so it's this here.
I thought it came out earlier than that. So maybe it was a bit longer than I thought. But either way, it's definitely become.
But even then, that's still, 2017. It's almost both of them 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's out, and the other one is
still a real.
Yeah, it's some nice CG, nice in-game rendered cutscenes.
Yeah. Also, it's hard to compete. Like, imagine, if you will, you watch. Do you like Blade Runner?
I need to watch them. I like the idea of it, but I've not actually watched the movies yet.
Okay. Do you think Blade Runner would be as popular if it wasn't set in the future with flying cars and neon lights and see-through plastic coats, and it was just a noir?
A detective noir.
Yeah. Do you think it would be as popular if it didn't have all of those things?
I think it would not be held in as great esteem.
What does Sekiro have? Demons. Unnaturally large enemies.
Yeah.
The
supernatural
gone crazy. Monkeys with swords.
Yeah.
That can disappear.
The giant snake.
I like so many things. Giant yaks with flaming horns. What? What does this game have?
Mongols.
Yeah.
Hordes of Mongols.
Who look like the Japanese dudes you're fighting. Just wearing slightly different armour. And chattering, not in Americanese like the Japanese seem to be, but in some sort of faux Mongol tongue. Which would you go with? The fantastical mixed in with the reality, or potato without salt?
I think I would go for both. If I like samurai games so much, or my movies,
No, we see.
I'll go for
Okay,
both.
what if they both came out on the same day?
Still get both, yeah.
Lies!
I'm a samurai nerd.
Okay, someone cut her microphone. Cut her microphone. The difference is that Seikiro is a samurai and Ghost of Tsushima is a ninja.
Shut the F
And
up.
that's different. That is just worlds apart.
He's not a ninja.
He's a ninja.
He's a disgraced Ronin. It's the same garbage, mate.
Then it's the same thing.
Exactly.
He should become a ninja and to differentiate himself from.
I'm sorry. Like, also there's lineage plays a part in this too, right? It's like you just said earlier. It's the unknown versus the known. Right?
Yeah, From Software have pedigree. They have.
There's a
They've
quality.
been doing
there's
this-
a standard.
They've been doing this for years.
Exactly, and you expect like that standard to be not only withheld but probably upped a little bit each time. And if you take out Dark Souls 2 out of the equation,
Here we go.
it has been. So Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 1. There was a marked improvement in every respect as far as I'm concerned. Dark Souls 2 is the black spot, but I don't blame
It's always difficult to pick an album.
I don't blame Miyazaki for that. I blame the person that took over. Anyway, but Miyazaki was working on Bloodborne, which continued that line of content versus whatever, and it continues to go up. Anyway,
the Ghost needs a bit of
polishing.
Sucker Punch.
in there,
I
doesn't
thought the name was familiar. Sucker Punch did Sly Cooper. You know the PS platform games.
Yeah, that well-known string of games where you have to collect a bunch of crap, and it's a platformer set in a 3D realm, and you're one of two. You're a raccoon and a gobshite, right? It's like a duo, like Ratchet and Clank, like Banjo and Kazooie, and
then they did the Infamous series.
All right, that has some.
Yeah, so the thing. There's 4 Infamous games. Or if they're,
I wouldn't say they were good.
But yeah, the first 2 I know about, but the others is like less things. So yeah, that was their last, and their last thing was 2014, and between 2014 and 2020, it's Ghost of Tsushima. So they've been working on this for a while now.
I just want to. I noticed this earlier, and we talked about it a little bit.
Holy moly, they've been working on this for a hell of a long time.
Yes, they have. And it's not even coming out this, obviously this year is done.
Yeah.
It's December, kids.
Yes, it's
done. This is coming out next year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Unless they get Seikiro, release DLC or something.
Well, this is what I said.
Guys, we need to bring it back.
This is what I said.
We need
Seikiro
another couple of years.
Hasn't had a DLC. Dark Souls 1 had a DLC. Dark Souls 2 had 2 DLCs. Dark Souls 3 had 2 DLCs. Bloodborne had a DLC.
They're just waiting till they announce a release date.
Yeah.
And then so we're going to release our DLC a week before that.
Yeah.
And then
people be like, I've already got 6.
Because that would be evil.
That'd be brilliant. I would love that. It would just shoot holes in the side of the ship again.
Every 2 years, the game reemerges with new updated thing.
It just needs an actor or something. Just chuck in a few actors.
Keanu Reeves. Get Keanu Reeves on stage. Yeah, here's Ghost of. I don't remember the name.
Ghost of the Ronin.
It's not the new Matrix film, but I'm here. Can't believe that's being made.
Oh, yeah, Matrix 4. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to how they wrap up all the questions that we've gone on.
The questions don't need to be asked. What you need to do, right, is erase Matrix Revolutions and whatever the other one was called from your mind, 2 and 3, and just go, the Matrix is a good thing.
No, they need to if they rebooted number 3, would be better.
You just need to stop.
Please stop.
They got it right once and they failed every other time since.
Yeah, they should
the second one was great.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't. Under close scrutiny, I think you'll find your eyes could be doing something better. Maybe staring into a hole that people shit in.
I don't think my eyes need to do that.
Anyway, Ghost of Tsushima? Coming out next year. There's a horrible bit in the trailer where he jumps down onto a guy, stabs him, he's clearly behind him. Next sequence shows him pulling the sword out and he's facing away from him, but in front of him. It's amazing.
That's why I said he's a ninja. He phased through the guy.
Wow!
And then grabbed the sword and went, shut, done.
Also, that would be almost impossible to reach far enough back to bridge the gap between...
He bends his knees.
Ah... He must do a lot of yoga then. Anyway, on that...
Great note, we love the game. We're totally buying PlayStation 4s. Or 5s!
I think
PlayStation 5s.
Give it a chance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you going to buy dev kit? You going to buy dev kit? Is it coming out on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation dev kit?
I have no idea.
Yeah, neither does anyone else. That's the question.
I'm a non-gamer.
You play Monster Hunter?
What, once every...
Third blue moon.
Yeah.
Does this actually say... Oh, it does say PS4. Okay.
Yeah, it's PS4.
Yeah.
But
another game that will be forgotten because...
When they put it back for 2 years,
yeah,
they'll be ready for the PS5.
Yeah, well, exactly. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Another game that's going to come out next year for the penultimate release of DevKit to come out and then destroy every IP that is starting on the PS4, only to be completely wiped out by people going, never played it. I bought the
So-
dev kit.
They're going to announce Seikiro
Why
2
can't
for
you-
the PS5, and this game will just like retire.
Elden Ring. They're just going to go Elden Ring. Everything goodbye.
Why can't you play your older games
Drop the mic.
on your newer console then?
Most backwards
so-
compatibility is tricky.
Some people have continued to make backward compatibility, but it is very difficult because the architecture of the games changes each time.
Mm.
And on that note, the dream is over. Let's get out of here. That was the Digital Suffering Podcast. If you'd like to suffer some more, you can find other episodes on Red Circle, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public, and SoundCloud. Please like and subscribe everywhere.